Welcome to Leading Life and Leading People. My name is Rachel Cannon, and I'm an organizational development and HR practitioner and consultant who works to help individuals and organizations unlock more energy and capacity to do good and work together to meet needs. But being a mom, a nerd, an athlete, a friend, and a member of various communities, I've come to know that everyone can be a leader. Leadership is about bringing together the strengths and potential we all have as human beings and doing the work to sustain and grow the energy and capacity of everyone involved. Whether that's you as a leader in your own life or you as a leader in family, with friends, community, or in the workplace, you can have a role to play in bringing life to your circle of the world. There's so much we can do together. So let's talk about what it means to lead life and to lead people. So it's all based on the fact that people matter. Our society can be very task and productivity focused. We've had lots of impact of industrial and scientific management that's seeped into our society. And it's made us focus on task and optimization and growth and productivity. And it's left its mark on how we address people and how we build and view success. We often treat others and ourselves as machines that should be capable of constant perfection, that don't make mistakes, whose output never varies. You think about a machine, you always know what to expect. But if nothing else, the last few years with COVID and its effect on mental and physical health, on energy levels and relationships has shown us, and maybe convinced some of us, that we are actually human. So now it's an opportunity to finally recognize that we are people. We're human. We get tired. We need to refuel. We need to rest. We need to learn. And we make mistakes. But it's not all about the downside. It's not just about stopping, pausing, or not getting things done. This opportunity is to understand the fear and the pushback from many of our brains and for many leaders is that if we truly acknowledge that we're imperfect humans, then we'll be less successful. We'll stop progressing. We'll fall behind. But the interesting thing is that our brains lie to us. Many of the things that we chase as leaders in our own lives and as a people actually function better when we behave as if we are human rather than as if we're machines. Well, let's think about just energy and how we try to create and sustain energy. We can't turn our brains and our bodies into machines. There's many research studies that show the positive impact of rest, of brain breaks, a variety of activities, not only on mental and physical health, but on a broadening and strengthening our capacity over time. So our energy grows when it's challenged and it's allowed to recover. When we treat our brains and bodies as human systems, they function better all the time. We all know this, and if you've experienced, as in my background as an athlete, I know that overtraining is something that I tend to do. I think that I can keep going, and if I keep going and keep going, I'll endlessly get better. But the reality is that my body needs rest and recovery time, and it's that rest and recovery time that actually makes me stronger and more capable when combined with the work. So our energy will improve as we treat our brains and our bodies as human systems. Also think about productivity. So many of the biggest successes happen when we're able to utilize instances of flow. And if you haven't heard of flow, go and look that up. There's lots of great writings and books on the concept. In summary, flow is when we're absorbed by an activity and able to leverage all of our strengths and our energy for a focused time. Productivity increases when we have that focused time and not simply treat every day as an endless marathon. But you can't force flow. Flow isn't something that you can just predictably create all the time, but you have to create the environment that allows it to happen. You have to teach and allow room for people to discover what creates flow for them. Another thing that we talk about all the time in our society, in our cultures, in our lives is innovation, creating something. We love the idea of creating and leaving our mark. But innovation requires new ideas and a diversity of ideas, perspectives, and experiences. And the ability to bring those things together depends on relationships of belonging. Now, when we say belonging means that I'm seen, that I'm heard, and I'm valued. And if any of those aspects are missing, then I don't bring up my new ideas. I don't contribute because I don't feel like it will be seen or valued. We try to drive innovation a lot of times through processes that treat us like machines, but innovation is most present when we treat each other as human and prioritize learning from other humans. Those are just a few examples of the things that we might chase in life and as leaders, and they fall apart if we treat ourselves and others as machines. So even most of what we view as our challenges come from the fact that we're human, but would rather treat others as cogs in the machine. So if you look at Brené Brown did extensive research, and you can read about it in her book Dare to Lead, with leaders to understand the behaviors and cultural issues getting in the way in their organizations. And some of those challenges and behaviors include avoiding tough conversations, which diminishes the trust and engagement as we try to avoid having to deal with people. I'm sure that you've seen this all the time, right? We don't want to have those hard conversations, and we see them as something to fear and to avoid, instead of looking at the people behind them and thinking about what they need and what we need as a team. We often also try to control behaviors when change occurs, rather than addressing fears and emotions. One of the things I've found in working with sustainable change projects is that it really becomes sustainable when you include all of those voices, when you understand where everyone is and include them in creating something together. Another challenge in behavior that we find is that people don't take risks. They don't try new things. They're afraid of failure, setbacks, and disappointments because they're met with shame and blame rather than accountability and learning. And people rush ahead to get a task done rather than staying in problem identification and bringing all the voices into the conversation. Now, if you look at all of these behaviors, they all have to do with seeing each other as people, not just as part of the system. And so if we see each other as people, we see each other as human, and we acknowledge that we need to work together and hear all of our voices, we start to see a lot bigger impact in the things that we do. All of those dysfunctions happen when we want people to be machines rather than people, and when we focus on task only. Why does that happen? Why is it that we always find people are the problem? Right? I hear this a lot of times expressed in different ways. People are just dumb. People are idiots. If only we didn't have to deal with people. But it will always be imperfect people who are doing what needs to be done. We're not going to get away from that. You will never escape that people don't respond the same as machines. Their behavior, their ideas, values, and experiences lead to different perspectives. We don't all operate on the same code. But that is also the beauty, that as humans, we can create and do much more together than the best artificial intelligence can. Yep, that means even ChatGPT can't live up to our ability to create, grow, and innovate. But the key to unlocking this capability in our own lives and in our organizations or communities is to embrace that we are always leading people. So here's a couple of ways to think about as you start on the path of seeing yourself and others as people. First, try always asking more questions before debating. So rather than focusing on getting to the right solutions, spend more time asking questions to understand the experiences and perspectives behind your own and others' ideas and actions. The right solution, and I put that in quotes, we often look for the right solution, but the solution is usually more like a puzzle that combines various perspectives rather than a battle between two ideas. One of the things that you can do to practice this is called a 2-minute question burst. If you have a challenge, take 2 minutes and write down only questions. Write down all the questions that you can think about that are related to that challenge. Now, we have a tendency that we want to think of solutions, but the challenge here is to stay in asking questions. And along the way, as we ask more and more questions, your thinking will broaden and new possibilities will come to mind. After you do this, reflect on how asking questions may have changed your thinking about the challenge. Here's the second thing that you can try, and I've seen the impact of this in every team and organization that I've worked with. Try expressing appreciation for the values, experiences, and strengths of others. So different ideas, thoughts, and worldviews often get silenced because we treat conversations as a contest. Try identifying what you value about others and express appreciation for that in at least 3 interactions every day. Now, of course, we should do it all the time, but we have to start small. Try it in 3 interactions. Watch what happens to the tone and the depth of your interactions. As you do these and as you practice these, think about what would seeing yourself and others as people look like in your life, your community, or your work? What helps you to embrace seeing others as human? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. We all learn together. You have different experiences, ideas that have helped you to see others and treat others as human. Let me know your thoughts. Reply in the comments. But thanks for joining us this time. Your voice matters. Let me know what your thoughts and questions are, and let's keep learning together about leading life and leading people.